What could be cooler than designing a secret door combined with a Zelda sound effect in the Nintendo room? Hey Nintendo fans and collectors, Lithium here from my channel Nintendo Collecting. I made this secret door and I thought I would do a DIY project video in case everyone else or anyone else would like to do the same thing. So I'm going to go through an overview of everything I used, the cost of materials, and how I went about the process. Both of these doors, by the way, do pivot open smoothly in the Nintendo space. So this is a project I would have never imagined I would have had completed, but I think it's really cool that I actually got it done and it works as well as it possibly could. So let's get to the overview for this DIY project. As an overview of everything I used for this project, in case you're interested in doing this yourself, I used IKEA Billy bookcases. If you were to buy these brand new, they're much more expensive, but I hunted locally. I found both of these, or the two that I used, for $15 each, which is a really good price. So that's $30 for the shelves, but one of them, of course, I'm going to have to cut down to size. The width of these is 31.5 inches, so 63 inches in total, which was pretty perfect for the walkway that I had. However, with the pivoting action, one of them I'm going to have to cut. So other supplies that I had to buy were the wheels that are going underneath the cabinets. These, I'm using 5 wheels with ball bearings. I'll show a little bit later in the video, but those in total cost me roughly $16. So far we're at about $46. Then I had to buy some screws to mount the hinges and to mount the centerpiece that's going to block the gap in between the two. So that costs roughly another $4, so we're at about $50 total spent. I bought magnets so that this doorway will magnetically close and I don't have to worry about anything else for the closing options. So these were roughly $1.50 each. I'm using 4 of them, so that's roughly $56 total spent. I also need to get hinges. So this is already mounted, but these are the hinges that I'm talking about. I went with black hinges with black screws. So these do cost a few dollars each. You can usually buy them as a 2-pack or a 3-pack, but that was roughly another few dollars. So now I'm at maybe $70 total spent for the secret door. Now, in addition to that, though, I did have the expense of buying the Zelda sound effect. So I'm going to give you an overview of these. There is a gold one and there is a green one. The green one I recommend a little bit more. The green one's probably better for secret doors, as that's the sound effect in Zelda dungeons in the game. The gold one is when you open up a chest, but these cost $70 each. So all, in total, after taxes, the project probably cost me about $150. Other supplies that I used throughout the project was a saw so that I could cut down one of the Billy bookcases, an X-Acto knife so I could cut down the backing of one of them, some screwdrivers. If you have a battery-powered one, that's even better. I used some scissors to cut off a little bit of the Scotch mounting tape so I could use it with the Zelda Effecttone to make that work a little bit better. More on that later in the video, but that's completely optional. And I also had a sanding little bar here so that once I was done cutting the bookcase, I could make sure that it was really smooth, and I used a leveler so once I mounted them just to make sure everything was level. So that's a pretty good overview. The batteries here are completely optional because these do come with their own batteries, but I was using these ones right here in case you're interested. Total $150, not bad at all. I thought it would be a really good idea to use sound effects for the secret door, so I found these Effecttones made by band Presto. I believe these were available as some sort of a prize in a game, I guess, in an arcade in Japan. They're pretty expensive if you want to buy these off of eBay. Just one of these usually costs around $70 US and up. So be aware of that. There's 2 different variations. The one that I'm going to use is this one here. This is when you solve a puzzle or when you move a block, then the sound effect goes off. I thought that would be perfect for if you move the secret door, then the sound effect goes off. This is the one that you get when you open up a chest. And just say, for example, you're finding a piece of heart in a chest or an item. So when you open up the chest, we have that classic sound effect, and you'll hear those in a moment. So I already bought this one for the secret door. Part of it is already mounted. That's why it's not in this casing right here. And this one I bought, and I'm thinking I might use this either in the washroom or probably on the fridge. This would be pretty cool in the fridge in the Nintendo room. Maybe even to the stores to the basement. So if someone's about to come downstairs into the Nintendo room, the sound effect will go off. stuff. So let me just take you through what this has inside. So when I got these, they were taped at the bottom, but you could just simply remove the tape that was at the bottom of these. These are completely in Japanese, and the only year that's important on this is 2017 is when these were made. I'm not sure if these are actually still available in Japan, so I'm just going to slide this up and off. I keep most of the packaging for one reason or another. This is a really thick piece of cardboard that does open up. When you open it up, it gives you all the directions or instructions, but they are in Japanese. So it's nice that it does come with this at least. And mounting and what you're supposed to do and everything like that. And it requires 3 batteries, but it does come with the batteries. I'll talk about the batteries a little bit more in a second. So the device itself is here. So the rest of it is just plastic packaging, just going to move that to the side. So there's 2 pieces to this. There's the Effecttone itself, but it also has to have this piece here because this is a magnetic strip. It's really hard to see, but on this there are 3 little arrow dots right here, which line up with 3 arrow dots on this. So when you go to mount these, this is the connection, the magnetic connection that will be severed, and when it's severed in any direction, then the sound effect will go off. So here you have a little Nintendo logo on this, and you have an image, obviously, of getting the heart. So this is pretty neat. You have a mounting strip on the back of both of these, so you can mount them and use them. If you want to mount this piece right here will swivel and will rotate off. So you can first mount this wherever you like, and then you can mount this after the fact. You have to use I think it's a mini Phillips screwdriver to get to the 3 batteries in this, but I do want to show you what the sound effects sound like. So if you were mounting these, this one you would mount, I guess, first to the wall. You could mount it to the wall like that, and then you mount the device as well. So let's look at the other one, just want to pull that out too. Some of the pieces in this one I have already removed and mounted to the secret door, just so that I could go through them. Same thing, this one has green instead of gold, and it says 2017, same thing on the bottom corner here, made in China, 3 batteries, and the directions inside here are the exact same. So for the one that I'm going to use, this green one, with a slightly different sound effect than the other one, so in order to get the sound effect, there is an on-off toggle switch right here at the top. So of course, this one says on right now, but there's no magnet attached to it. If I turn it off, nothing's going to happen. If I turn it on, though, it should make the sound effect of what we're going to hear. So that's wicked. So off, on. And the other sound effect for this one, with the on-off switch here, turning it on. So what we're realizing there is that it didn't play really well. And the reason for that is because the battery, there's only 1 screw for the battery, so what I've been noticing is the side kind of stands up a bit. So if I apply some pressure to the side, and then I turn it on, it works. So the key here is that I'm probably going to have to tape this down to make sure that these are pressing against those 2 batteries. So as long as I have it pressed down correctly, we get that full sound effect, which is amazing. There we go. So with the battery connected, and let's line up the magnets. So right here, it doesn't matter that this is a different color as long as it's the magnetic strip. If they were the right way, and I'm just going to hold the battery down, so hopefully that this does work. So it is now on. It should not work right now. And as soon as that is detached or severed, we get the sound effect. So let's see. So it's a little finicky sometimes. But if you set it up perfectly, and again, you probably put some tape on the back of this to apply some pressure, or maybe tighten the screw. Maybe that's all I really have to do. So let's line up those arrows, and as soon as we open the door, we should get the sound effect. So I'm going to have to work with it a little bit. If you're wondering what batteries these use, because obviously with it opening and closing, they use these batteries right here. So the real batteries that it's using is, let me just read it out to you. I think it's called LR1154. So LR1154 is down there. It's just really hard to get that in the shot, I think, correctly. And these batteries are placements. These are Energizer 357. This is a 3-pack. It does require 3 of the batteries. Just this battery pack alone is something like $8. So it does cost a little bit of money, obviously, to keep these things powered because they are wireless. And if you want anything additional to mount them, then I got this Scotch. This is the mounting tape. So if I really need to mount these better than what the plastic or the adhesive that comes with it. If you want to buy both of them, there are some listings on eBay where you can buy both, but they're upwards of $150 and more. I thought I was going to make myself one of these, and I talked to one of my friends that we were thinking about, like, maybe we can get one of the doorbell, or like the automatic door. When you open the door, it makes a sound, and maybe we can program it, and maybe we can put it in our own sound bite. And when I started looking into that, and the price just kept getting a little bit higher and a little bit higher, and after the price was over $50, I figured I might as well just buy one of these that's already pre-programmed for it, and it's so perfect. So I'm going to mount it onto the secret door, and we're going to see how this works. I'm adding wheels to the shelves. The wheels I decided to pick up are from Home Depot. I'm putting 5 of them on each shelf. These ones sold for, I think, $2.50 each, roughly. They have ball bearings in them, so if I want to use them in the future, they can be more useful probably for something that I can turn any which direction. For this, it's just really going to take a lot of the weight off the shelf itself and off of the hinges. So the screws I'm using to put these in are 1/2" Drill X self-drilling screws. They're just the ones that I happen to have for some other projects, and they're the right length to not go all the way through the bottom shelf. I decided to put 5 wheels on each Billy bookcase. This one is roughly 28.5 inches wide, and I really thought putting 2 on either end might be okay, but why not just get one more? At $2.50 each, I thought it was definitely worth it. So I'm going to put these on, and then I also have to cut the backing for this and make it the same size. Then we can put this up and put it on its hinges. Putting hinges on the shelf so that I can rotate. These are the hinges I'm using. I bought them as 2-packs. They didn't cost that much. I think they were like $6 or $7 for the 2-pack. They also came with the screws. I highly recommend using a drill when you do this. I did a few of them by hand, and it just took forever. I don't know why I was using my hand. So if you do have a drill, use that. Then I'm going to attach these, like you can see there, to the wall, or at least to the door opening. That one I'm going to take down. I was just seeing the height, making sure the height of that one and the height of the other one is the same. Also note, one of my engineering friends, he was just saying, make sure you use the exact same hardware. So one of these screws is different. You can definitely see it. It jumps out at you. So I'm going to change that one and just make sure I have all the same hardware. It just looks like a more continuous look, he says. He's absolutely right. The boards for the back definitely need to be cut, so I'm measuring about 3.5 inches, but I measured exactly, and I'm taking that off the sides. I'm using an X-Acto knife to score it, and then I'm going to bend it, and hopefully it will snap, so that it gets to the right size, and then I can put the backs on. The excess on the sides have been cut off, and now I put on the back, so it's looking pretty good. Time to tilt this in place, put on the hinges, and see how this looks with both doors closed. The bookcases are up and they're standing. I'm really liking how this project is going. For now, I put this piece of wood that you can see here in between the two, but I need to think on this to cover the gap. So more on that in a moment. I need to protect that middle portion that's in between the two bookcases. Because I want that swivel option, I cut the left bookcase down, which now leaves that gap of roughly 2.5 to 3 inches. So when this pivots open, it now has the space to do so. However, even with the magnets there, just so close, I measured that perfectly. However, this gap obviously I want to get rid of. So my fix for that was to buy a piece of pine. I then painted it black and I cut it to size. This is a 3.75 inch wide piece. It's called a 4-inch wide piece. And it's the height of the cabinets, which is roughly 80 inches. So here are the magnets that are going to close the door. This piece here will connect to that piece there, which I bought. These are just simply that you get for closing your doors or your cabinets in your kitchen. So I bought 12 of them for roughly $11. I'm only using 4 of them right now, so I've got some extras. Otherwise, they were like $2 or $3 each. Then I have the brackets to attach this piece to it. So this piece is going to be on the left bookcase, and the right one is going to magnetically close to it. The sound effect isn't consistently working enough, so I opened up the back where the batteries are, and like I mentioned, I don't think the batteries are being pressed down enough to make that sound. So what I did was, I got some of these Scotch mounting tape. This is adhesive on both sides. I cut down a strip to roughly this size. I removed the sticker seal on one side, but kept it on the other, and I mounted it to the back of this piece here. So now I'm hoping that this additional little bit will provide enough tension on this so that when we close this up, I'm going to get the sound working consistently. So let me just close this and see if we can get the sound out of it every single time I turn it on and every time that magnet is released from where it's supposed to be. Okay, so that's pretty solid. Let's turn it on. So that works, and let's just make sure that it works every single time. It's a little bit annoying, but hopefully now we're going to get that consistency that we need. When I close the door, I'm hoping that this green part, it barely clears, will line up with the green part in there. It's a little bit hard to see, but now that they're lined up, when I sever the connection, it'll be on a little bit of a delay. We'll get the sound effects. And there we go. Perfect. This is what the bookcases look like from the other side. They're certainly not beautiful. I could finish them off in a better way. I have two other Billy bookcases, the smaller ones here on the side, which I just want to show how smoothly this opens with the wheels at the bottom. So you can see them down there holding up the cabinet. Once we open this up, hopefully we'll also hear the sound effects. Smooth opening. Perfect. So once I open this up all the way, it's flush with the other bookcases in this space. I had to leave a little bit of a gap because of those magnets and because of the Effecttone, but they look pretty good in this space. When the other one opens up, it does block off the area slightly. It kind of goes in front of that amiibo, sealed amiibo shelf right there when it opens up. I just have too much stuff in the way right now. You might also notice, just because I'm going to throw that out there, I have my sealed games back here, also my Sega Genesis collection from when I was growing up as a child, and my uncle's Atari collection is back here as well. So there's quite a bit in this room. I do need to finish it off eventually. That's why I have the wood in this space. Hey, Rob the Robot. Never talked about you before either. So let's close this up from the other side and just see how this looks. Get that metal clasp seal, hopefully. Alright, so it's closed, and let's open it up and make sure we get that sound effect. That's just awesome. That's really cool to have in your room. It always blows people away, especially if the door is closed and the light behind is off. So if the light is on, you can kind of see between the space, so that's one of the limitations of this project. I'm not going to block this off. I just usually have the light in that space turned off so that you can't see through it. Otherwise, it does kind of lose the effect of being a secret door with the light on behind it, because if you stand the right way, you can see right through. So with the lights off, it's a little bit better. Here is the final result. So it does look really good in this space. The piece that's separating the two in between, kind of covering that up, you don't notice it that much, especially when the items in the collection kind of speak for themselves. I might still want to improve this a little bit, maybe by staining over this piece so it looks a little bit more glossy like the Billy bookcases. And I think this is a spectacular thing to have in your room. If you're not willing to spend the full price tag of roughly $150, you can just get that Zelda sound effect for roughly maybe $70 to $80 US. Then you can put it on a doorway in your room, or you can put it maybe on a fridge if you're interested, or you could design your own from the ground up. So I think this looks pretty good in this space. I'm really happy with how smoothly this opens, and the sound effect, how it's delayed. So that works really well, and the fact that both of these pivot open. So this is something in my space that I'm going to enjoy for a while. Eventually, I do want to finish this room behind the secret door, and when that happens, I'm going to have to take these two bookcases off, and I'm going to utilize the secret door somewhere else in that space so that all of this work wouldn't have gone to waste. Otherwise, that would be really unfortunate. If you have any comments of what I could do to improve, or if you have your own design or thoughts that this maybe inspires in your own space, and you really want to share it, please let me know as a comment below. I would really appreciate that. I had a lot of fun with this. My wife and all my friends think it's kind of insane. My dad was impressed with how smoothly that this works and how efficiently it is on the wheels and on the hinges, and the sound effect is just pretty awesome. Thanks so much for watching. Feel free to fill that like bucket. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. The links are in the description below the video. Give this video a like. It really does help spread the love for this video and get it out there for more people to see. Go collect them all. Keep smiling while gaming. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day one more time. It just never gets old.